right now. While you are reading this, your yard is full of things you cannot see. Not because they are hidden, not because they are rare or small or moving too fast, but because your eyes, as remarkable as human vision is, were not built for the world your birds inhabit. The yard you look at every morning and the yard your birds experience every morning are not the same place. They never have been. Your birds are living inside a version of your yard that is richer, more detailed, more layered with information than anything you have ever perceived standing in the same space. 7 things are happening in your yard right now that you will never see. Your birds see all of them, and once you understand what they are seeing, what your yard actually looks like through the biology they carry, you will never look at that familiar space the same way again. Stay until the very end, because number 7 is the one that stops people cold. It is happening above your yard right now, and the scale of it is something most people never fully absorb the first time they hear it. Welcome back to Backyard Bird Mind. Subscribe before you go, because what this community sees together, once they know what to look for, changes everything. Let's begin. Ultraviolet light. Your yard is painted in colors. You cannot see. Your yard has colors in it that you will never see. Not metaphorically. Literally. Physically present colors. Wavelengths of light bouncing off every surface in your garden right now that your eyes do not have the biological equipment to detect. Birds do. Human vision operates across 3 color channels: red, green, and blue. We call this trichromatic vision, and we consider it excellent. Birds have 4 color channels. The 4th is ultraviolet. Their eyes contain a 4th type of cone cell that registers UV wavelengths completely invisible to us. What this means for your yard is extraordinary. Research on avian UV vision has established that many of the plants, insects, and surfaces in a typical backyard reflect ultraviolet light in patterns that are vivid and visually rich to a bird. Berries that look uniformly red to you glow with UV reflective coatings that signal ripeness to a bird with precision no human eye could replicate. Flowers that appear a single color to us display intricate UV patterns that act as landing guides for birds and insects. Even bird plumage, feathers that look one color to human eyes, contains UV reflective structures that make birds visually extraordinary to each other in ways we cannot perceive. The cardinal at your feeder is not the bird you think you are seeing. To another cardinal, to the chickadee watching from the branch above, that bird is painted in colors your eye will never register. Your yard is a UV landscape of extraordinary richness. You are standing in a painting you can only partially see. Magnetic fields. Your birds feel the earth itself. Right now, running through your yard, through your house, through your body, as you stand in the garden, is the earth's magnetic field. You feel nothing. Your birds feel everything. Research on avian magnetoreception, the ability of birds to detect and orient using magnetic fields, has established that many species possess a biological compass of extraordinary sensitivity. The mechanism involves cryptochrome proteins in the bird's eye that interact with magnetic fields to produce a visual experience of the field's direction and intensity. For migratory species, this compass guides continental scale navigation. But for your resident yard birds, the cardinal who has been there all winter, the chickadee who knows every corner of your garden, the magnetic sense provides something different. It provides a map. Research from Lund University in Sweden found that birds use magnetic field information not just for migration, but for local spatial orientation, building detailed internal maps of their immediate environment that include magnetic landmark information invisible to any human observer. Your yard has a magnetic texture. Your birds can feel it. The specific magnetic signature of your garden, your house, your feeder position. These are landmarks in a sensory map your birds carry in their biology. They know where they are in your yard in a way that has nothing to do with sight. You are standing in a magnetic landscape. Your birds are reading it. You feel none of it. Insect highways. The food network, running through your garden. Your yard contains highways you cannot see. Right now, in the air above your garden, insects are moving along invisible corridors, thermal currents, scent trails, humidity gradients, that form a three-dimensional network of food availability that your birds navigate with precision. Research on bird foraging behavior has established that birds do not search for insects randomly. They read the environment for the specific conditions that predict insect presence. Light angles, plant chemistry signals, temperature gradients, the behavioral patterns of other birds who have already located food. What looks to you like a bird hopping arbitrarily across your lawn is a bird following a sensory map of insect activity, invisible to human perception. The robin who crosses your grass in a specific diagonal path is not wandering. It is following a route its sensory systems have identified as maximally productive, tracking vibrations through its feet, reading moisture gradients through its bill, processing visual information at frame rates that make its perception of movement fundamentally different from yours. Research on robin foraging confirmed that these birds can detect earthworm movement through soil vibration with a sensitivity that registers prey activity invisible to any human observer standing in the same garden. Your lawn is alive with a food network your birds are reading in real time. Every step they take is informed. Every direction change is data-driven. The apparently random movement of a bird across your yard is anything but random. It is expert navigation through a world of information you cannot access. Predator shadows, the threat assessment happening above you. Something passes over your yard dozens of times each day that you rarely notice. A shadow, a flicker of changed light across the grass. The brief darkening that happens when something crosses between you and the sun. Your birds notice every single one. Research on avian predator detection has established that birds can distinguish between the shadow silhouettes of different aerial threats with a precision that seems almost impossible until you understand the biology behind it. The shadow of a hawk moving at speed produces a specific silhouette shape and movement pattern that triggers immediate alarm response. The shadow of a vulture, large, slow, non-threatening to small birds, produces a different response entirely. The shadow of a passing pigeon produces almost none. This discrimination happens in milliseconds. It operates below the threshold of conscious processing. The bird does not decide to be alarmed by a hawk shadow. The alarm is already in its body before the decision could form. Studies on visual processing speed in birds have found that many species process visual information at frame rates significantly higher than humans, perceiving smooth motion where we see flickering, detecting brief visual events that pass too quickly for human consciousness to register. The yard above your head is a constant stream of shadow information your birds are reading continuously. Threats and non-threats, fast and slow, near and far, all processed, categorized, and responded to in a sensory world you are barely participating in. When your birds suddenly flush and you see nothing that explains it, look up. Something passed over. Something they saw. Something your eyes processed as simply a moment of changed light. Infrasound, the frequencies. Your yard produces that you cannot hear. Your yard is making sounds right now that you will never hear. Infrasound, low-frequency vibrations below the threshold of human hearing, is produced constantly by the environment. Wind moving through structures, underground water movement, distant weather systems, large animal movement, geological activity at scales that seem impossibly remote. Research on avian sensory biology has confirmed that many bird species can detect infrasonic frequencies, registering environmental information through a combination of specialized inner ear structures and the hollow bone architecture that makes their entire skeleton a receiving instrument. What does your yard sound like in infrasound? The answer is specific and rich, the deep vibration of a truck passing on a distant road, the subsonic signature of an approaching storm system hours before it is visible in the sky, the low-frequency movement of a large predator, a dog, a cat, a fox, at the edge of the property before any visible signal of its presence has reached the yard. Your birds know the storm is coming before the clouds arrive, not because they are meteorologically gifted in some vague intuitive sense, because the infrasonic signature of the approaching pressure system is physically present in your yard, hours before any human instrument at street level would detect it. The next time your birds disappear suddenly, on a day when the sky looks perfectly clear, check the weather. Within hours, conditions will change. Your birds heard it coming in frequencies below anything you could detect, standing in the same space. The social map, the invisible communication network, overhead. Right now, the birds in your yard are embedded in a communication network that extends far beyond what you can see or hear. The alarm calls, contact calls, territorial songs, and foraging signals of birds in your yard connect to the birds in neighboring yards, which connect to the birds in the park 2 streets over, which connect further still. This network of avian communication creates what researchers call a landscape of information, a continuously updated social map of threat, food availability, and territorial status that covers your entire neighborhood. Research on bird communication networks in urban and suburban environments has found that information travels through these networks at speeds and across distances that surprise researchers. An alarm call produced at one end of a residential block in response to a cat can modify the behavior of birds 3 or 4 properties away within seconds. Birds who never saw the cat, never heard the original alarm directly, but received the information through a chain of secondary responses moving through the network. Your yard is a node in this network. Every bird in it is simultaneously a receiver and a transmitter of information about conditions you cannot directly observe. The chickadee at your feeder, who suddenly shifts her posture and looks northeast, is not reacting to anything you can see. She is reacting to something she heard, a distant alarm, a shift in the network's signal that originated in someone else's yard entirely. Your birds know what is happening in your neighborhood in real time. The social map they inhabit is vast, continuously updated, and completely invisible to you. Migration. Millions of birds passing over your house. Right now. This is the one that changes the way you look at the night sky. Right now. Tonight, if you step outside and look up at what appears to be an ordinary sky, above your house, directly above the roof under which you sleep, birds are passing. Not dozens. Not hundreds. On peak migration nights in spring and autumn, the number of birds crossing over a single point in the eastern United States can reach into the millions in a single night. These are not exotic species from distant places. They are your birds. The wood thrush that visits your yard every summer left last October and has been in Central America since then. Right now in April, it is flying north, above your house, navigating by stars and magnetic field, burning fat reserves equivalent to a human running back-to-back marathons. The ruby-throated hummingbird that will arrive at your feeder in May crossed the Gulf of Mexico last night. 900 miles, non-stop, in darkness, above open water. That bird, smaller than your thumb, weighing less than a nickel, navigated a continent using sensory systems that make our GPS technology look primitive. Cornell Lab's BirdCast migration monitoring system tracks this movement in real time using weather radar. On peak nights, the radar image of the eastern United States shows what appears to be an enormous weather system moving northward. Not rain, not clouds. Birds. Billions of them. Their biological mass large enough to return radar signals that meteorologists had to learn to distinguish from precipitation. This is happening above your house tonight, on many nights this spring. The birds that will spend the summer singing from your trees are passing over you right now. In the dark, navigating a continent by light, they can see that you cannot, following paths their ancestors traveled for millions of years. Your yard ends at the fence line, but what your birds inhabit has no fence line at all. 7 things in your yard right now. Colors you cannot see. Magnetic fields you cannot feel. Insect highways you cannot follow. Predator shadows you cannot distinguish. Infrasound you cannot hear. a communication network you cannot access, and millions of birds passing above your roof in a darkness that is anything but empty. Your yard and your bird's yard are the same space, but they are not the same world. I want to ask you something before you go. Of these 7 things, which one stopped you? Which one made you look out your window differently? Tell me in the comments, and tell me what birds are in your yard right now, because whatever they are doing out there, they are seeing a version of your yard that would take your breath away if you could see it too. Share this with someone who loves their yard. Someone who stands at their feeder every morning and thinks they know what they're looking at. They have no idea. And now neither do you, in the best possible way. Thank you for being here at Backyard Bird Mind. I'll see you in the next one.